final match. I mean, just having 2 left. The players that have yet to win one are starting to feel that pressure on their shoulders, weighing them down. They know they are running out of matches. They are running out of time to make something happen. They've already been given one last chance. And as we get closer and closer to the final match, the pressure continues to rise for Fincheck Zarb. They get caught. They aren't able to sneak in a 3-2-1. Vampy Vidil, they are too aware.
Yeah, this is also just not a fight that Vampy and Vidil want right now, right? They just spent a little bit of time making that rotate from inside the storm, so they've got to take a moment to heal. They don't really want to overcommit, or worse still, lose any of their shields even further, because then you're also just being punished by losing that little bit of net surge. But do have a little bit of look back here. Trouble brewing for Ping and Vanya.
Oh.
Missed connection there. Little tragic, but thankfully for Vanya and Ping, no one else was around to actually see that one go down. I'm so sorry to say, though, that our observers don't miss much when it comes to these instances.
Don't worry, just everybody saw that. Hodosai Asa, great job picking up a quick sneaky elimination, realizing probably not worth to continue chasing, as now they've gotten a good amount of damage, capped out their mats, and ready to put themselves on, I would say, a dead side of the storm here. They can take their extra time now that they've got that damage.
There is going to always be a little bit of risk associated with these late rotations, Takata. We've seen the dead side rotate work out, but we've also seen numerous occasions where players just get held on the edge of zone by teams that are already boxed up in those better overview sites. Is Chris Buka, XZ, one of our teams, currently nestled inside of one of the buildings here at Sus Studios, trying to see if they can maybe look for a bit of a fight here. It's almost like they're inviting the engagement, but no one's gonna take the bait just yet.
Not yet. Because maybe they've realized. Vanya Ping, on the other hand, take a look at what they've been up to. We talked about them playing in the storm. It looks like Peshka Gold had a similar idea for these vending machines.
For Vanya and Ping, now this is gonna make them decide, do we actually want to stick around, or no, they'll actually choose to disengage, knowing that this is the 4th lobby and that there's only one other opportunity for any teams, or basically for everybody that doesn't win, right?
Yeah.
It's going to always, I think, cause even the most experienced players to not necessarily second guess, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's tough not to hesitate for a second on how much you really want to commit towards a new strategy that you're already having to implement last second.
Teams do start getting desperate once you get into that last match, even this one. Playstyles get changed up. All or nothing's come through in the late. Makes it that much more enjoyable to watch, though. I really want to see Pink and Sano make something happen here. They've tried so many height takes in the end game. They've done it without mats. They've done it with. They're just not able to fully close it out. But so far in terms of early and mid game, they've been pretty consistently doing it well.
I mean, they're managing to make it into the end game, and typically for any other kind of tournament, that would be exactly what you're hoping for, but while things are a little bit quiet for Pink and Sato, kicking up right now for Artskill and Nusif. Great elimination there onto Xenix, but that is still a very tough sight for Rinzi. Now he's gonna have to try and play for that reboot ban option, and I think what's also interesting is that they were one of those teams that I think tried to kind of utilize a different strategy in this 4th lobby. They decided that they wanted to drop where Yarko and Kyure were originally going, knowing that it was going to be up for grabs since they'd already confirmed their seat to the Major 1 finals.
Get back. Seti and Rax after the successful off spawn against Wheat and Nefrisi, who were 2nd place as well in game 1. since then. I wonder if they're gonna make a mix-up for the last match, actually, and go back to Wonky. Time will tell. As for now, Seti Rax are pretty comfortably situated in this 4th zone. I mean, Levin was saying at the start of the show, we've already got a finals without Queasy, without Merstash. Players like Tayson not making it through. I don't want to see Seti be the next one.
But the skill ceiling just continues to rise in the European region. And the faster you're able to adapt, or the faster you're able to figure out a way to overcome it on your own marks, that's going to be the real winning effort here today. But it really does prove that there is a whole new standard that has started to really build here in EU.
New rising talent, a lot of EU legends teaming up with them. We've seen it work, we've seen it not. But either way, it is a new era for EU competitive. As it looks like that is not the way I'd want to be going down here, rotating into zone. Oh!
The thing is, you take shots, Takata, that far into zone, and there's always going to be somebody else looking. A lot of teams trying to play the Storm mentality here. It's going to be a trade of revives now. That third-party interception. Best case scenario right now, but this is like poking the bear. It almost looks like now REX, CK, maybe they want to try and challenge this further, but no, too much attention has been drawn. Their spot is now hot. Everyone's starting to look in. That was also based a little bit further out. That's going to cause Wi-Fi Avery to just dive right in. They need this engagement. They need a little bit of damage, but REX instead overcome. Nice elimination here. And that's going to be a perfect setup now for this duo, despite those opening troubles.
A blessing in disguise. Amari getting knocked to now them coming out with 2 extra eliminations, almost 500 above, and a bit more loot. Almost couldn't even ask for more out of that outcome.
Yeah, great way to look back here for a moment. That was just nasty from REX, way quicker on the punch there. CK also doing an excellent job at holding the zone after the fact, but it's the ability to not just panic in those types of circumstances too. I think that's going to always be a crucial element for all of these duos, especially some of the up-and-comers.
Comeback was on the trio, I believe, when they were getting 3 second places with Shark and Blaha. Let's hope that they don't get a second place again here. Blaha Mixon aren't having the best of times either, but they are up. They are looking healthy. So hopefully this could be a match where they make something happen.
Ting and Vanya, though, managed to recover things to an extent. Still seeing what they can pick off in the lobby. Will unfortunately just take out Linux. Doesn't even get a chance to make it into zone. But now, Ping, Vanya, they're going to have to start to make their own moves. Just kind of keeping tabs on the surrounding area, though. With so many other teams, and some of them very likely desperate for surge damage themselves, they don't want to overexpose themselves.
Video Vampy kind of trying to find their way into zone here too. You can see with the late rotate, it has pulled towards where Seti and Rax have been dropping. So all those teams around the north are having a tough time getting into the zone. But for Doxy and Trip, they've done it almost perfectly.
It's one thing, though, to find yourself in a solid position. It's another thing to make sure that you convert it into a win here today. So for Prodoxy and Tripper, and they've still got a few battles left to try and take over here. Mix and Blaha, they're just going to opt to stay secure in their current spot. A lot of congestion definitely pulling into this southern side of the zone near that supply drop is at. No one really trying to risk it just yet, but good insight now for Vanya. They were playing the patient game, and it pulls out entirely in their favor here. Big shots onto XZ and Chris Buka. beautiful 2 eliminations is definitely bound to set them up nicely for their surge.
That's exactly what you want leading into an end game. Full capped up on mats, refreshed up your heals. Let's hope now that they can play it through, as Pink and Sato once again have made it to the end game, but they're just right above that Storm Surge threshold. It seems to be a repeat of previous matches we've seen, so let's hope that they can change it up when it's time to go for that refresh.
It almost seemed like Ping was who Sato might have been trying to lock on to, but Seti, Rex, 224 above. Also managing to stay just a couple tiles up from ultimate low. And teams really all just kind of waiting for the best opportunity to move out. You don't want to be one of the teams that gets kind of stuck flying through the air when the lobby focus is raining through here, but Seti, Rax might have some visitors that they don't want to hang around with. Pompek and Farhawa are trying to kind of force themselves into that location, but Seti knew better. Just going to send it forward. They want to stay near front side as much as they can.
Yeah, have his own pull right towards where their drop was. They get first pickings of these rotates, hopefully able to conserve a decent amount of mats, but the way it's looking is quite positive so far. Let's go see how Trippern's looking.
Great elimination. That's the firepower that they need to work with. And Trippern, a lot of people definitely taking notice of what he was doing throughout the process of the last chance qualifier heats. Even the opens, like I said, his heats directly, he was doing a pretty solid job. But Venya and Ping still got their own tribulations to deal with here. Stadium Brickborn maybe getting a little over antsy for that frontside position. It's not gonna pay off just yet for Ping and Vanya to find another elimination, but Sato and Pink, they are in dire need right now, Takata, of some form of damage here. Anyone will do at this point. Only 63 above, 174, and the net search jumping favorably for them, but just tap back out. Moments before, Sato and Pink had managed to actually find a conversion for an elimination there. Look at the high ground right now that's starting to develop.
Good news for the rest of the lobby. We don't have as difficult as a zone from the last match. Bad news for high ground. Means there's gonna be a lot more healthy duos down below, hungry for that height. So we're gonna see the retakes come through. Podesai gotta get picked off as Nova is gonna try and push on forwards.
But it was Pink and Sato on the other side of that. They were trying to be the ones to take out any eliminations here, but now Ping all by himself. This is not the sight you want to see for some of our more established players in this community, but Ping forced to drop all the way down to ultimate low. These last few pizza slices are gonna have to get the job done here as he starts to work his way up the elevation. It's only a matter of time, though, before he's forced into an engagement, especially when he's trying to take a low ground position here. But Sato, Pink, another elimination onto Adapted, and that is going to be a really nice conversion here for materials. But Pink just, he tries to layer swap. Caught in the clutches of Rax and Seti, who were just waiting in the mid-ground, punishing that switch up. Ping still doing what he can, though, to work through ultimate low. The fact that he's even managed to claim as much space as he has is incredible, but he still needs the win, and as a solo, it's gonna be a fully uphill battle for the rest of this lobby here. But Rax, Seti, signs of life. They're gonna start to drop now. They might be the ones to put off Ping along the way. Big shot's going to connect with Ping. He's still kicking, but he might just run immediately into the clutches of somebody else. But the siphon, the elimination, it's actually paid off in his favor for Doxy, though, with the elimination onto Farhawa, and that might just be difference maker for the Danes. They're looking for the chop. Fred's gonna find it. Woza and Nova not gonna be able to hold it for much longer, but for Doxy, he loses Tripper, and Tripper tried to get aggressive, and he's picked off instead from another team playing backside.
More and more solos coming through, but the big duo, I'm seeing one on low. It's Seti Rax. There's another up above with nobody contesting them so far. Seti Rax, now is your chance. Make something happen.
They've already gotten 3 eliminations. What they need right now is material, at least when they're leading on front side of zone. They will have the opportunity to look back and try to take out any duos or solos. They're very limited in their fragging potential. For Doxy, on the other hand, he's trying to take things into his own hands, going up as a solo. Hallie gonna bring down Nova and temporarily take over Hype, but it's all a drop down. As the zone continues to pull forward, everybody else knows that they're gonna have to wait. Lusha, Hallie, all they need to do is avoid those game 1 grievances, and Hallie, Lusha, they're looking set on High. Woza gonna be collected in the underbelly of this lobby, but Julie, Mitos, they might have a real chance at this. They've got 7 overdrive grenades to try and tackle Height, but for right now, with no material counts to their name, they're gonna instead choose to play things a little bit more safe, backside of zone, just trying to break through and see if they can catch anybody off guard.
Looking like they can make it happen. A refresh is all they need. Howley, Lucia now applying the pressure from above. They want to find that perfect moment to strike. There is a full duo down below, but now is the chance for them to win.
And this is perfect now for Lusha and Hallie, as long as they can stay together, because Jewel, he's all by his lonesome. Hallie, though, does lose Lusha, but at the same time, look at the siphon of materials in the sky falling straight into Hallie's hands. But he needs to get every single one of these materials, a couple more pizza slices. El Wavy and Noms, though, while they might be out of materials, they're not out of fragging potential. 1 versus 2 now. They need to try and bring this one home, but Hallie looking relatively healthy on Height. He used his last form of heals, but he has to connect with every single one of these shots. El Wavy's gonna be the first one to send it. He's going for the immediate challenge. 2 separate angles, but Hallie gets the first. Noms has fallen. Wavy has like no HP, and Hallie's gonna do it. Hallie and Lusha able to make up for that earlier transgression and find their way to the Major 1 Grand Finals.
They ended on 4th place to kick off the tournament today. Since then, it's been a downhill road, but now in the second to last match, Howley and Lucia confirm themselves a place in the major finals. Frankie, Levin, Mini, what do you have to say?
Howley and Lucia looked so confident in that end game, getting all of their timings absolutely spot on, Levin. And I have to say, I am so pleased to see that they've made it to the finals.
I don't get nervous, but I did get a bit nervous for a moment at the end there, because when Lusha went down, I thought, no, not again. It can't be happening again. Howley must be fuming, but he delivers the goods, Mini. The 1v2 there, ice cold to isolate the 1v1s against those opponents, right? He knew that the game was in his control. A lot of players in that situation might start panicking, thinking, I'm in a 1v2, I gotta make something happen. He waited for them to come to him, and they played right into his hands.
Yeah, even earlier on in that end game as well, Howley was the one that actually set them up for that high ground take. I think it might have been right here. Was it on Nova? Yeah, it was. This was the shot. Look at that. That's huge. The drive-by was unreal, and that's what opened up the door there, Levin, for them to take height. I actually didn't see how Lucia actually went down. I hope it's not another one of those fall damage situations. Oh, it was! Oh, it was! Oh, no! I didn't see that. That's not great, but full credits to Howley here, because this 1v2 was unreal. But Lucia, man, what are you
Win and you're in. Win and you're in, boys. It literally doesn't matter. He had Howley to clean things up for him. And what a clean 1v2 that was at the end. Just perfection from these two, showing that they truly deserve their spot with the Victory Royale win. It books them their spot in the grand finals next weekend, which means, guys, we literally is one and we're done, Levin. We've only got one more game to go. We'll be talking about who's likely to take it after the break.
Watch me cut back too fast. Oh, oh, just like that. I see a dub in my future stats. Oh, I know a place you can go. The doghouse outside my massive abode. It's lovely, it's cushy, and sometimes it's cold. Now sit and watch me get this gold. Oh, I just want it all. I just want it all. I'm gon' bounce. I'm gon' bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. Said you want it all. Bounce back. Said you want it all, but you want it all. I can have it all. If you knock me down, I'll move to the floor. I just got back up. Oh, bounce back. I just want it all. I just want it all.
There's just one more spot up for grabs in this weekend's Major 1 Grand Finals. Everything is to play for. There's nothing more for these teams to lose, and ultimately we're going to have to say goodbye to a huge names in just a moment. But before we talk about the forthcoming disappointments and who's facing them, let's talk about that last game. Seti and Rax, I feel like we're starting to see the potential of this duo. All too late, obviously, but it was great to see them managing to make it to the end game mini-mine. It looked like they had a chance, but it feels like playing the low ground, playing the safe route is just not working for any duos today.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's been a lot of high ground wins, of course, as we expected. I thought maybe we were about to get our first low ground win there at the end, but ultimately playing these med kits wasn't going to work out. It was that zone pull, wasn't it, Levin, just over that hill. We saw so many players trying to scramble in the storm. I think Fredoxy was one of them, just trying to find a way up that hill. Couldn't quite make it work there for them.
It's tough because, you know, again, they've looked great at moments throughout the day, but it's not enough to just look great, right? It's about piecing it together and finding the win condition, and they just can't seem to find the win condition in these end games. There is still one last chance for them to do it now.
It feels like Vanya and Ping, they're taking more risks. The problem is they seem so uncoordinated in how they actually want to play those moments, Levin, that they're ending up in these solo clutch situations far too early in the end game.
And this is always the risk when you have a new duo. At the end of the day, new duos often either have an unreal honeymoon period where everything just flows and the chemistry is just at its peak, or you're disjointed, you're not both on the same page. And I feel like, unfortunately, the rhythm is just not there for these guys at the moment. It's going to take a big performance individually, I think, from one of them to really make something happen in this last game, Minnie.
And it's weird when you say things like that, when you say that, you know, teams can have these like really wobbly periods when they're just first together. You don't necessarily associate that with teams and players of their caliber. When two players that have just done it all in Fortnite and done so much for themselves and each other, you would think that they would just naturally figure it out, but it's usually happens. It usually happens with big names like that, and it's just not happening for them right now. It would be a Vanya thing just to win the last game on high in the end here, but there are just so many names that we were talking about at the beginning of the day. It's like, yeah, these guys we expect to win. They're big names. They've done it before, and they're just not performing on this big stage. It's kind of strange.
It's interesting because we didn't necessarily expect Fredoxy and Trippin to actually take a victory royale tonight, even though they've got some form and history, but they haven't played together for a long time, for a year, in fact, Levin. It feels like, though, they're taking some risks that potentially could see them go all the way.
I think the inspiring thing about these guys is that they've been making it to end games with some consistency. They've been in positions where one refresh connecting the right way, Minnie, could just turn your game around and give you a win, right? And so in this last game, if they can continue to do that, hopefully that can be enough to push them over the line. But a lot of these games, the refreshes just come like a zone or two too late when they're already split up and disjointed. They need to find things a tiny bit earlier.
Yeah, they're not able to set themselves up either. It's a very similar situation to Seti and Rax, so they're just not finding themselves in the positions to maybe look at height, to maybe have a stack situation to then go on to take the win. They're scrambling. They're trying to look for refreshes. They're trying to play Storm. They don't quite know what each other are doing in the different moments. So, yeah, they've got it all to do right now, but so have so many of our other big names that we expected to do well at the beginning.
So it's all about preparation for all of our duos right now, because I know I keep saying this, but if you don't get to the grand finals, you haven't got a hope of being one of the 20 duos who are going to be going to Dusseldorf in May. There are so many names who could be missing out here. Seti, Vidil, Vanya, Ping, Pink, Blacker, Convex, Fredoxy, Mixon, Podosai. The list is endless. The heartbreak will be too if any of these names miss out, not just for the players themselves, but for the fans. Because don't forget, after Major 1 Summit, That's when FNCS 2 happens. That's potentially going to be a break of 2 months at least for FNCS for some of these players, Mini Miner.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting. You know, there's always a little bit of a weird period when you do have a longer break where teams are switching up. You know, you got players that are trying to rekindle some of that success, trying to pick up new talent. It's going to be interesting to how that goes. But for now, these teams just want to make their way into the major finals, and there's guaranteed to be an upset when you look at the names.
Levin, who do you think is not getting upset? Who do you think could potentially manage to clutch this one in the last game?
That's a tough one, Frankie. It's tough. There's still so many names. I think at the end of the day, you know, a wise man once said this game's about moments. And there's no bigger moment than now. You have to do it for your fans, for your friends, for your teammate. Do it for the plot. It's time. Their time is up. Your time has to be now. Let's do it.
Players, are you ready?
I think that man's name, it might start with a Lev and end with an N here, Takada, but the truth has been spoken. There are so many prominent names when you just look at the list of players still competing in today's Last Chance Qualifier Finals, and knowing that only 2 of them are going to be able to confirm themselves potentially for that Major 1 Grand Finals. It's just absurd to think about.
It's scary. Pink Sato are the ones that I was looking at last game. I really thought they had it. They got the refreshes they couldn't in the previous matches. They were set up perfectly to finish that end game off, but ended up getting dropped, getting full eliminated with a good amount of mats, loot, everything they needed. So I'm hoping all of these duos can make those last minute changes and qualify themselves. The issue is there's only one duo, there's only one slot to make that happen.
And it's still even crazier to think about it. It might not even be one of the duos that so many people would originally anticipate. But we'll find out right here, right now, because our last game, number 5, is ready to go.
It really does come down to this. Will there be any last minute switch ups on the drops, on the play styles? Will it be more aggressive? Is everyone just gonna do what they can to make that end game, even if it means taking less risks? As we kick it off with Nefrizian Wheat in Humble Hills.
Pieces are being erased right now. SETI taken out. All of the hopes now hinging upon Raxen being able to turn around this off-spawn contention here. They've been getting the better end of it for the last few lobbies, but this is the one that matters to close out because it is the final chance that either of these teams will have to try and see themselves on that battle bus for the Major 1 Grand Finals. Rax, moderate HP advantage, but he's still dancing around the buildings here of Humble Hills, and he's brought down. Wheat and Nefrizi have just doused the light from SETI and Rax. You will not be seeing SETI in the Major 1 Grand Finals. You will not be seeing him have a chance for the Major 1 Summit. It is insanity to think about watching these pieces of history crumble.
New era for EU competitive Fortnite as SETI joins the pack. Vanya now trying to hold on. Doesn't want to be the next one that joins the legends that didn't qualify. As it latte landing, this battle has been happening from the start.
And we've been seeing such stacked end games throughout the entirety of the 4 lobbies that have already taken place here today, Takada. But this might just be crash out central for all of our competitors still remaining. CK and RDX have managed to take over latte landing. Vanya and Ping, they just want to see another zone. They want to make it towards the end game and have their real opportunity at making sure that they don't miss out on that battle bus for the finals.
Blaha Mixon. Quite split up here. They started off pretty strong, but they just have not been able to do enough. I mean, this is one of the duos that at the start you said, Taco, kind of predicted somehow that you'd like to see them play together. And now, you know, your dream has come true. The issue is they haven't made it through yet. And if Blaha gets keyed here without Mixon's help, it could be difficult.
It's a great job, though, from Mixon, kind of pivot a little bit of attention there, though, from Blaha. He was originally just getting keyed, like you said, 2 versus 1, but now Mixon, those shots have given him the opportunity to try and reunite. He's gonna have to take over the supportive measures here pretty heavily, though. Blaha is incredibly low. Chaos just looming overhead. This is a very, very scary sight right now for Blaha and Mixon. Just largely knowing that even if they manage to come out on top in this exchange, they've already taken so much damage in return. That net surge can't be panning out too favorably.
I think I saw another 2 duos too in the surrounding areas who are hungry to join the party uninvited. Sato Pink. Ah, this is a tough one. This is a really tough one. They were doing so well. Let's hope that they can match the previous game without getting dropped into a box. As now, Izzy, 10 points, doesn't matter. All you need is the win.
Izzy and Lobeto have certainly not had a day that would, I think, instill that confidence of the consistency metric in the first place. They have just been doing everything to try and find that victory royale. But Frigid Fortress has been a rather active point of contention for a lot of the teams on the northern side of the map. It's probably going to continue to do so, depending on how some of these later zone pulls draw out. But Izzy with a lurk from overhead. This might just be a great opportunity here to try and find that first elimination, but spot it out, so things are just gonna be left out in the open here. Izzy's just gonna choose to fall back to Lobeto.
With how net surge works and just the season's been playing out, it's a lot less common to see these even fights take place. You'll normally see these fights happen when one of the teams gets a big beam or even a big shotgun shot, anything to kind of give them the upper hand in the engagement. And Mix and Blaha apparently have the numbers.
Coming back, though, to where Wi-Fi and Borsuk had sort of left off. It looks like they really want to try and get aggressive now with Izzy and Lobeto. Hey, they might not have started it, but they'll be more than happy to try and see things through all the way here. Lobeto losing shields entirely now means that Borsuk and Wi-Fi, they just want to collapse on this one fully. Once the dust settles, only one duo should be left standing here. And right now, it's looking like it could be Wi-Fi and Borsuk, but no, Wi-Fi turned upon Lobeto just in the nick of time, managing to bail out his duo on Lobeto. He's not done just yet. Another one onto Borsuk, so they'll have the opportunity now to keep trying to trek through Game 5.
What a turnaround. Great way to kick it off in this last match. Unfortunately for Wi-Fi and his duo, that will be it, but Luevi waiting patiently has paid off. Quick elimination as Izzy now is forced to disengage.
And just when you think that something might be going your way, it's like 2 steps backwards, make it even 10 at this point, Takata, because Izzy, all that surge that they just established, now they're going to have to reevaluate how they actually want to move forward, because you've got to make a play for reboot. The one silver lining is that it is early enough for that to be a possibility, but there are just so many hawks waiting to come crashing down on anyone that they might scout out, coming through from deep inside of the storm. It's just tough.
It really is. It sucks, honestly. Hopefully we'll see them make a comeback, though. Seen a lot of south zones throughout the day. Looking a bit more north this time around as we do have a fight.
Good bending control right now, though. Trix and Zidon, that might just be exactly what they're interested in. They know it's gonna have to be scrappy, or they'll be able to get their hands on these machines. And Trix just waiting. Specs are doing a good job, though. It's still pinpointing, keeping their tarps closed off, but it's just too much. The juice isn't worth the squeeze right now for Trix and Zidon. They don't want to risk being eliminated this early on.
that they do not. Tripburn for Doxy. We saw what Tripburn's capable of. We saw him fragging out for Doxy. One of the best players in the world I was gonna say last season, back in trios actually, last chapter. Getting a bit clowned on so far this season, but you know, he is a player where the placements don't really live up to what he's actually capable of. So I'm curious to see if in this last game, I feel like he's gonna qual. Doing it through the last match, that's the way it's gonna go.
I think for a lot of these players, and whether or not their major ends here and they'll be left to just wait for later seasons, one of the positives is that I think that they have really just had the chance to kind of see how the region as a whole is just continuing to grow and develop. But I think also it's providing a lot of positives onto some of this new and emerging talent, because there's always going to be the instances of, I think, individuals kind of struggling to find the teammates that they would prefer. And I think one reason why I never really get too pressed over seeing what happens with Doxy's outcomes is just knowing that he spent the entirety of the offseason very much just playing with pretty much any other Danish player that he could find and had, like, you know, that sense of camaraderie with. It has almost felt like a bit of a vacation tour for him in a sense. And I just think that he's not alone with having more than enough potential to kind of bounce back in future seasons. But now, you know, balls in your court prove that you can actually hold true to those metrics.
Let's hope we don't have to wait the future seasons and we can see something happen here in this last match. Vexy and Co. in a great position, actually, north of zone here. I'm just hoping their net surge will be handled correctly. I mean, thinking back to in the match, we still have Adil and Vampy back-to-back seconds. Adil's another player who kind of tried going back with Reason at the start of the year. It didn't quite work out. Also switching duos left and right. Now ended up with Vampy in the last chance, and they've gotten so close, so hopefully we'll see them make something happen here.
With the zone now pulling over towards Sandy Strip. And Frosty and Phyto there take their time from an elevated position. Ping and Vanya, though. Oh no, Takata, we might be witnessing the beginning of the end here right now. Vanya and Ping have had to fight tooth and nail in the first place to even make it into the last chance qualifier finals. They've both had such tumultuous lead-ups to be in this position in the first place. Fortunately for them though, SnozQ and Vexy, they're gonna take that surge and run with it. They will not opt to continue forcing this engagement, so a slight bailout right now for Vanya and Ping, but goodness, their surge cannot be looking great right now.
Yeah, having to use a lot of shields to recuperate it, but for Luavian Noms, they did get that sneaky refresh, picking up 2 eliminations so far. Doing a quick mat split, and you know, it could be better, but at least they've got the damage. At least they're in zone. All you can really do is set yourself up in the best way possible. If you need to get refreshes, you'll do it when the time comes. Pink Sato as well, looking quite good positioning-wise.
See some of those looming surge towers overhead, really kind of forcing some of these smaller battles to sort of take place. But Vanya, Ping, hey, they had to figure out the surge method somewhere, and it looks like they actually chose to pick things back up with SnozQ and Vexy. Keep in mind though, SnozQ and Vexy were leaving. Did catch a glimpse of them rocking. One of them at least has that mythic Chaos reloader, and that is a daunting sight. It's gonna be on SnozQ, I believe, but Vexy still trying to look to hold his own here against the likes of Vanya. They're willing to go toe-to-toe with both of these veterans. They want to cement themselves as capable fighters inside the region of EU. Ping on the ropes right now, gonna be forced back. Vanya needs to try and regroup here. But Vexy and SnozQ, they've really got Vanya and Ping in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, as the shots keep coming through, Vanya and Ping get further and further away from that surge threshold. We can't quite see yet exactly how far they might be behind. Hopefully leading up to this, they were doing enough damage to hold on, but unfortunately for them, Taco, it looks like they are in a tragic position.
In comparison to Vexy and Snosky, who are chilling, 445 above. They've done enough, at least for right now. Push back Ping and Vanya, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Vanya and Ping, they're not willing to let this one go just yet because they need damage. They need it now. They don't want to have to burn through every single one of their healing assets just to try and survive through those early surge takes, but the more aggressive you are, the more obvious it becomes. Snosky, Vexy split for a moment though. Vanya's gonna start to crank up, see if he can take down Snosky along the way. But they're both just looking for the escape route. But Snosky, he's fallen. Vexy now trying to do everything he can to muster up the strength to push back against the likes of Vanya and Ping. But this might just be enough. This could be the exact sort of refresh they're after. They still need a little bit more damage, but Vanya goes down. Ping now left to pick up the pieces here of this exchange. And with a healthy duo in the foreground, how much longer has this realistically helped them out?
Issue is, they're still below. Surge is now taking, despite that elimination, it still was not enough. 288 below. We might be witnessing another legendary duo falling down. 25 finals appearances for Vanya, two-time FNCS champion. We've talked about it already. EU competitive is changing, new talent is rising up, and the legends, a lot of them seem to be falling behind.
It's only moments before Ping gets lobbied, I fear. Leches and Avery, unfortunately, haven't had a realistic chance to look back just yet. They're just trying to make it into zone. Ping with the same mentality does manage to just push himself up over that net search threshold. But how much time did he realistically buy for himself here? Now with Avery and Leches settled up, they have so much damage too. Ping, big response here. It just isn't enough. The Library of Alexandria, it's on fire, Takata, and we are just watching the ashes now of these legends in the scene no longer have their chance to be on that Major One Finals battle bus.
The theme of this last chance is something good comes through, you get a smile on your face, and as quickly as the smile came, it gets flipped upside down. 81 above Vadil and Vampy. They're gonna need some tags leading into this match, and with the zone pulling north, at least they don't have too far of a rotate, but there's still a lot of teams in their way.
But they've been fighting a separate battle to everybody else in this lobby, Takata. I mean, 2 lobbies that you finish in second place. So close, and yet it feels like they're just grabbing at smoke. It just keeps evading them. The victory royale has been so close, but so far here today. And I feel like it's almost worse when you're in that position of being that close and then falling short, especially when you're in the final lobby of the day, to continue trying to see whether or not you'll have the chance to even make it to the Major One Summit. That's home turf. That's home base for Vadil. And to think that he might miss out, it's just absurd.
Coming from being the best German duo in 2024, Vadil and Reason, they were looking almost unstoppable at a time. We'll see if they can make it happen here in the last match. Now, the deal up with Vampy, but for so, in this moment, high ground, Xenox and Co. They want to hold on. I see Pink Sato in the back of my eyes as well.
But there are eliminations taking place as the map begins to pull up these mountain faces. Nusif and R-Skill, they're going to take matters into their own hands. Podesai shut down. A little bit of friendly fire there from the Frenchies, but game is game, and sometimes that's just how things pan out. Vampy, Vadil, 124 below. While they would have liked to hold on to these splashes just a little bit longer, they're gonna have to use a lot of their tools just to try and stay kicking in this one. But the good news is that the elevation relationships are brutal for everyone. Badil connects, big shot, Nut comes through, just one more, and the double elimination onto Like. He seems like this might be the real chance now for Badil and Vampy to turn this one around.
The script is still being written. They are not finished yet. Looking to represent their country on a global stage, but Sato, he's run into a bit of trouble. Pink has been knocked. Sato falls as well. We will not be seeing them in the major finals.
Such a sinking feeling, but the hopes are still building for at least one of these teams inside of the lobby. Xanox and Rinzi. Rinzi hoping to find himself competing alongside his brother Focus, who's already confirmed his position on the battle bus. But it's still going to be such a strong battle for this height hold. Xanox and Rinzi doing an excellent job so far, trying to suppress some of these lower layers. A big tarp out currently, and they have ways to get down if they need to. But Badil, Vampy, buried in the snow right now. Vampy caught a team playing from the backside of zone. Gold shutting down what looked like such a promising catalyst after those 2 eliminations. Now Badil, can he do it yet again? He's got to fly as a solo here now. He's looking for another opponent. An elimination, the knock's going to give him a little bit more time here. The siphon materials, if he can make it towards the body loot. But more importantly still, duos players on every single one of these walls. And Badil finds another one, just like that. Brahawa has been taken out. Mixon now scrambling to see where he needs to go next. And Badil, he just wants to make it into the builds. Unfortunately, though, the siphon not going to be able to come into effect. He didn't take that tick of storm early enough. And Badil has fallen. Germany will have to wait and see who actually makes it out to the summit land. Tripper and Prodoxy, though, another couple of legends, and they've still managed to keep things moving forward here. Wheaton and Frizzy, similar beat, but so many of these teams, Takata, they are just trying to push through. They've got to use everything to make it out.
It all comes down to this last match. Tripper and Ferdoxy representing Denmark. The issue is just 13 HP left on Trip, forced to rotate into the storm. It's gonna be incredibly difficult to make it in as they fall as well. Another legendary duo down to Frizzy Wheat, though. They're looking healthy.
Keep an eye on Hyde and the Frizzy, trying to see if he can get that shot, but diversions coming through. Teams challenging their position. And the Frizzy won't be able to settle up. That's going to be another duo eliminated. Now, Ariix trying to see if they can take Hyde into their own hands. CK, Audience, they've done it for the time being, but they have like no material to work with. Rinzi's got to find a big shot here if he doesn't want his streams to end. And Rinzi gets it. CK is fallen. Artskill and Nosif, though, they might be looking to steal this one away in the final hour, but it's not enough. Xanox pulls through as a solo on height. The Mythic Pump and a Dream versus a Mythic Chaos underneath. Xanox is sent tumbling downwards, but Gold and Peshka, right when it looks so promising, have managed to bring things through.
Once again, they went for height in the last game. They couldn't pull through when it mattered most. And now with one last chance, one last opportunity, this final engagement means everything. As another elimination comes through, it looks like it's gonna end in a height versus low.
But the thing is, Gold, Peshka, they don't have that many materials. They're gonna have to use an overdrive grenade to actually break through onto the low ground, forced to drop here. Linux and Mystical, what have they got left in the tank? They're gonna have to step on the gas pedal here today. No more builds remain. Peshka tries to go. He's looking to see if he can take Mystical out of the skies. Gold as well. Everybody's sending shots upwards, but Peshka, he'll be the only one that actually managed to survive. But look at Xanox from way underneath. He's been holding on as a solo. Xanox and Rinzi, maybe he wants to go for the heal up. One more overdrive grenade, but it's Peshka just standing between him and this win. Rinzi's waiting, biting his nails, but Xanox can't do it. Peshka's the one who wins out, and the hopes just doused right in front of their eyes. But a congratulations to Peshka at the end there for managing to pull through.
That is exactly what you'd expect from a final match of the last chance qualifier. Congratulations to Gold and Peshka. That's it for me and Taco in the casting booth. We have to head right back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Taco and Takata. That was insanely tense at the end. I honestly thought that Xenox might have it there, but congratulations to Pesca and Gold for that incredible victory royale. They have taken the last spot in the grand finals this weekend. What a cinema to finish in, Levin.
Yeah, I mean, look. Impressive end for these two. I mean, in the case of Gold, again, he's a player, Mini, who a lot of the best moments of his career in the past came from duos, right? Back in 2023, he was qualifying for major finals alongside Anchor, and now we're back in duos in 2026, and he's, you know, back in the finals. So props to him. Peshka winning it out at the end as well there. It was not easy at all, right? With the zone pulling, it did almost look like it was in Xenox's favor for a moment, but Peshka hit the right shots, and now they get to play next weekend.
I mean, it was just absolute frenzy from everyone in that end game. All of those overdrive grenades are coming up. People were flying up in the sky. We had low gravity effects as well. It felt like that moment with the cube back in chapter 1 when there was that competitive moment and everyone was just flying through the sky, you know, and nobody quite knew what was going on. It almost reminiscent of that. I thought Xenox played this really well. I thought he had a really, really good strategy down here. Even had the heals towards the end. And I thought, yeah, you know what? He might try and play this out, might try and play for the heal off, but Peshka with that final shot ultimately closed it out. But yeah, I thought Xynos had a good idea there, but not quite to be at the end.
Well, he'll have to wait another couple of months to see what he can pull off in major number 2. Let's take a look at the winners from tonight to see the 5 victory royales that booked their duos a spot in the grand finals this weekend. Truly and Gonzo Moneymaker for 9, Yako and Kiri Howley, Lucia, Gold and Peshka will be seeing you on Saturday. So get some practice in because all of our duos are going to need it. This feels like the most unpredictable major I've ever witnessed, Evan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be a fun one, especially when you add those 5 teams in there. Let us know in the comments and in the live chat, like how many did you guess right? Did you predict any of those teams to qualify through? I'm sure plenty of you did. A couple in there, I'm sure people would have had. I'm very happy for all the teams, right? Of course, you're gutted for some of the teams that miss out, but I think all 5 of those teams are well deserving.
Well, because our production's Danish and they like a laugh, they have compiled some highlights from some of the teams we have to say goodbye to. I'm only joking. We actually want to pay our respects to these duos because we're not going to see them for a while. So let's see who we're going to be paying homage to first of all. Here we go. So Vanya and Ping, the last minute duo that couldn't make it a long-term thing, Mini Miner.
Yeah, I feel like these highlights should be in black and white, really, because it's just so sad to see, you know, teams, players like this not making it through. Ping was left as a solo right there. Of course, Vanya down in the Storm. They had a lot to do in terms of Storm Surge. And just overall the day, 11, it's just been really difficult for them. And then Pink as well and Sato really shocked, I suppose, that these guys didn't make it.
This is a tough one for me, of course. You know, I'm a big fan of Pink and Sato. I think, you know, there is so much talent there, and they're both, you know, great people who we want to see at these lands. This one, I think, is the most upsetting, though, when you look at how the game's panned out today. Vampy and Vidil, 2 second places, back-to-back second place finishes, where each of them pulled up with unbelievable solo clutches, right? Like Vidil's clutch, you know, you had him thinking, wow, he's back in his prime. Vampy showcasing all the talent everyone's been hyping him up for, and it just didn't quite happen. And that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. The FNCS format is so brutal, but I'm sure they'll be back with a bang, and I hope to say the same for a lot of these guys as well.
Yeah. It is going to be a really interesting break for a lot of these duos, and obviously they're not going to be playing this meta next time we see them either. I imagine quite a few of them will be happy to put it behind them. It has been such a long wait to even get to Major 1, given that we had a longer season break, and now the wait continues for a lot of these guys. However, let's be positive now, Mini Miner, because this weekend, it's anyone's to win.
Oh, it's so, I mean, you said it before, unpredictable. If that's the word for this season, I think that's almost perfect for it, because we don't know what's going to happen. We've been so shocked, so surprised by so many times, and there's there's almost every single moment, I suppose, where we're thinking, yeah, it's going to get back to normal. We're going to see a lot of our big teams qualifying through. Last chance will do it. It'll be fine. Every single time we think that, we are proved incorrect. So this major finals, this grand finals is going to be super hype, and it's going to be very, very unpredictable.
No 11-2K guarantees.
You might get a guarantee or two on the weekend. Who knows? I think at the end of the day, you guys are right. We have to get excited for the weekend. Dry your eyes, wipe your tears. It's gonna be cinema on the weekend. If there was ever a time when we were gonna get 2 new players who have never won an FNCS in EU, it would have to be this weekend. There is so much talent who is gonna have to prove to the world that they are worthy of the hype, and I'm looking forward to it.
As well as crowning our major victors, we're also going to be sending 20 European duos to the Major One Summit in Dusseldorf, the PSD Bank Dome, 30th and 31st of May. Get your tickets, please. We want to meet you. We want to hear your voices because we don't get to do LAN that often, so we want to make the most of every single second and celebrate with you guys. Right now, we need to go. We'll be back 4:45 p.m. Central European Summertime, so we'll see you there. But for now, sound that horn.